Welcome to the World History 1 lecture series. At the end of each slide there will be a 10-second delay. Use this time to pause the presentation and complete your notes. When you are done, push play and you will move forward. This lecture will begin in 5 seconds. Welcome to the World History 1 end of course review on India, China, Asia, and Japan, and we now move to the next part of the cycle of civilization, how civilizations develop and how civilizations sustain themselves. We'll look at Unit 3, Ancient India, topics 3.1 to 3.3 to see how civilizations develop, and we'll look at Unit 4, Ancient China, topics 4.1 to 4.3, and Asia and Japan at a Unit 10, topics 10.1 to see how civilizations sustain themselves. With that said, go to the next slide. Today we review the issues from Unit 3, Ancient India, and Unit 4, Ancient China. Open your notes to Unit 3 and read along. If you see something you do not understand, go back into your notes or find the lecture on the topic you need help with. We start with the geography of ancient Indian civilization, topic 3.1, and we learned that India is located on the Indian subcontinent in Asia. India is protected to the north by the Himalaya and Hindu Kush mountains, and it is protected on three sides by the Bay of Bengal, the Indian Ocean, and the Arabian Sea. When it comes to where India starts, India begins in the Indus River Valley, which is modern Pakistan, between 3300 to 1500 BCE, and it spreads into the Ganges River Valley, or modern India, between 1900 and 1300 BCE. Remember, Indian civilization starts in the Indus and spreads to the Ganges. But why does it spread so much? Well, the Indian climate, or monsoons, allow for rapid expansion of civilization, with cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. Those are early cities. Finally, we have trade routes from India, which include the Khyber Pass and sea trade routes. Go to the next slide. Next, we discussed the development of Indian civilization, topic 3.2, and we learned that the Aryans are a nomadic people who use the Khyber Pass to invade the Dravidians in Harappa, and it's these two people that form the basis of Indian civilization. In doing so, they develop Sanskrit, which fosters a written tradition that includes the Vedas and the Bhagavad Gita, upon which the religion of Hinduism is based. Hinduism is the world's oldest organized religion. Hinduism is also based on the caste system, which is a rigid class system with no movement between the classes. You will be born a merchant, you will stay a merchant for your life, and you will die a merchant. Finally, the Golden Age of India. The high point in civilization in India was during the Gupta Empire from 320 to 550 CE. And evidence of this age includes a numbering system based on 10 and the concept of zero. Remember Zero the hero? Flourishing of literature based on folk tales, and the development of medicine, mathematics, science, and astronomy. Go to the next slide. We then discussed the development of Indian religions, topic 3.3, and we learned that there are two major religions in ancient India. Hinduism is the oldest organized religion, but there is no specific founder, and it remains within the Indian subcontinent. It does not spread into the world. There is one major deity or god, the Brahman, and then there's the Hindu Trinity under the Brahman. We have Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer, which are all discussed in the Sanatana Dharma, which includes the Vedas and the Upanishads. Hinduism also uses the caste system to create a pattern of life, death, and rebirth. You have reincarnation, you are born into a caste. You have your dharma, that's the way you're supposed to live in your caste, you have your karma. If you live the way you're supposed to live, you get good karma. If you don't, you get bad karma. And then one of two things happens. You are either reincarnated into a higher class or a lower class, or you reach nirvana, which is the ultimate escape from Earth. Finally, we have the other religion, Buddhism, which is founded by Siddhartha Gautama, or the Buddha, as a reaction to Hinduism, and this one does spread into Asia by Emperor Ashoka. Nirvana can be reached in one lifetime in Buddhism if you follow the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. Go to the next slide. We now move to ancient China and talk about the geography of Chinese civilization, topic 4.1, and connecting Asia to the West, technology, topic 10.2. Ancient Chinese civilization is located in Eastern Asia. Chinese civilization began on the Yellow River in 2000 BCE and migrated south to the Yangtze River Valley and Delta. A couple other important landmarks are the Himalaya Mountains. To the south of China, they separate China from India, and the Great Wall of China. Speaking of which, Chinese civilization was somewhat protected. The Gobi Desert did not provide complete protection from invaders like the Mongols. Finally, Asia is linked to the West via the Silk Road and maritime trade routes. Goods, technology, and religion are flowing along these routes. Goods include spices, textile, and porcelain. Technology includes paper, sugar, water wheels, windmills, printing and the compass, and the lantern sail. And religions that are spreading include Buddhism, Hinduism, and eventually Islam. Go to the next slide. Next, we learned about invasions of and dynasties in Chinese civilization, topic 4.2, and we learned that the Mongols invaded and plundered or stole from Chinese civilization after Genghis Khan unified the Mongol people from 1206 to 1227 CE. That's after the birth of Jesus Christ. Kublai Khan, who's around from 1260 to 1294 CE, reinstated much of Chinese culture and ingratiated himself with the Chinese. That's the end of Mongol rule. Chinese civilization sustains itself because it absorbed invaders like the Mongols. The Great Wall of China was built to protect cities and keep out invaders like the Mongols from the north, but it did not work. Epic fail. What did work were dynasties. A dynasty is hereditary rule by rulers. Emperors ruled by divine right under the mandate of heaven. An emperor claimed that God said he should rule, but he could only rule the right way for the people under the mandate of heaven. The dynastic cycle is each period when a dynasty rises and falls. If you did not rule the right way, if your empire became corrupt under the mandate of heaven, you lost your divine right and someone else took over. Finally, the Chinese sustained their society using civil service exams, calligraphy, that's Chinese writing, and architecture, primarily pagodas. Go to the next slide. We then discussed Chinese philosophies, topic 4.3, and learned about three primary philosophies. Legalism develops from the ideas of Emperor Shi Huangdi of the Qin dynasty, and it's based on these principles. Man is evil, and goodness must be acquired, and man must follow strict laws and suffer harsh punishments in order to acquire goodness. Confucianism is based on the teachings of Kong Hui, Confucius, and is based on different beliefs. Humans are good. Respect your elders, follow a code of politeness, emphasize a good education, worship your ancestors, remain in balance in yourself, yin and yang, and revere and love your parents. filial piety. Taoism, those are both the same thing, is based on the teachings of Lao Tzu, and it's based on these beliefs. Live with humility, live a simple life and find inner peace. The yin and yang represents opposites in nature or in life, and live in harmony and with nature. Go to the next slide. Finally, we learned about religious diffusion and a non-traditional society, feudal Japan, topic 10.1. Religious diffusion, or the spread of Buddhism, Hinduism, and Islam, and cultural diffusion, the spread of ideas like paper money, system of writing, and Chinese architecture. These things spread to Korea, Japan, Central Asia, Southeast Asia, and West Africa. Speaking of Japan, Japan is located east of the Korean Peninsula on a mountainous archipelago or chain of 4 main islands, which insulates Japanese culture from cultural diffusion. Culture is moving into Japan from Korea, but nothing is flowing out, and that allows us to create some unique things in Japan, like Shintoism, which is a polytheistic state ethnic religion that coexists with Buddhism and focuses on natural features, forces of nature, and ancestor worship. Also, Japan has a 4-tier feudal system based on Confucius beliefs. The emperor is above the system, the shogun runs the system, and then we have samurai, farmers and peasants, and artisans and merchants. That's it for this lecture, and I look forward to seeing you in class.